Good morning and welcome to our webinar, Platform Strategy, How to Harmonize Your Data. I'm Kelly, Marketing Manager at BitBang, and I'll be hosting the webinar. I'd like to introduce you to Giovanni Lorenzoni, CEO at BitBang, and our guest speaker, Ian Congdon, Solutions Consulting Director at Domo, who are here today to show you how you can integrate all your data sources, govern and control your data at speed. With such an increase in data itself, and with so many different data sources available now, we know it's not easy to manage data efficiently. So hopefully by the end of the session today, you'll have more clarity about the Domo integration cloud and how it can help you overcome these particular challenges. Not to mention, we focused on just a few principal values of this solution. There are obviously many more, and this is a quick overview, so please do get in touch with us if you'd like to find out more. And you'll be provided with details of our speakers at the end of the webinar. So this actually leads me nicely on to the housekeeping matters. You'll see what we've added, a white paper to this webinar in the attachment section, which explains in a bit more detail about the cloud integration for analytics. Please don't forget, you can come back to this recording at any time. It's the same link, and obviously we always encourage you to share this content internally with your team members if you found it useful. We appreciate your feedback, just to know if it's been useful to you. Let's have a quick look at the agenda. We're going to look at building a data-driven enterprise. Then we'll go on to step 1, how to harmonize your data. We'll have a quick platform overview with a demo, and then we'll follow up with some key takeaways. Over to you, Giovanni.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you all for being here. Thank you to our partner Domo to make this happen. And first of all, let me say that building a data-driven enterprise is not just about encouraging the use of data in decision-making. In fact, it requires the development of the appropriate competencies and bring all of the streams of work into alignment in such a way that the outcomes are consistent with we call the ambition of the enterprise for generating information value. So we can say the mission is even more complicated than you can imagine. Consider this. This year, enterprises are expected to invest $1.3 trillion in digital transformation initiatives just to apply digital capabilities intended to improve efficiencies, increase customer value, create new monetization opportunities. Tragically, research from McKinsey tell us that 70% of these initiatives will not reach their stated goals. So that equates to over 900 billion worth of spend that will miss the mark. This is clearly mismanagement on a colossal scale. And most of the organizations that struggle with digital business transformation likely also struggle with becoming data-driven. They may not realize it. So data transformation, as we intend, means creating a business powered by data, or said differently, a digital business cannot exist without data and analytics. Data analytics are important to each digital business opportunity, and if your enterprise is having trouble conceiving and executing your digital ambition, perhaps you should start from data and with your data. So we all know that exploding quantities of data have the potential to fuel a new era of fact-based innovation in corporation, backing up new ideas with solid evidence, by hopes of better satisfying customers, streamlining operation, and clarifying strategy. Most of the firms for the past decade amassed a huge amount of data. They have invested in technologies and paid handsomely for analytical talent. Yet, for many companies, a strong data-driven practice remains I would say, elusive, and data are rarely the universal basis for decision making. So why does this happen? Let me say there are some missing pieces you should take care of. First of all, with a multitude of different platform, system, and tools being used across the enterprise, there's a lack of consistency when it comes to analyzing data. Often users do not trust the underlying data, and there is no accountability for fixing bad sources. We need to enable a strategic data foundation layer. We need to retain competitive edge and drive confident, informed decision making. You must be able, all of the company must be able to efficiently analyze their data sets, irrespective of where they reside. So they might be in database, internal database, external sources, and external application, and so on. So you might want a technological solution through which you can move, transform, consolidate data from all across your enterprise and beyond, and do it fast at cloud scale, keeping your user with the insights they need to drive strategic business decisions. Then teamwork is always forgotten in business transformation. Transformation success is completely dependent, let me say, strongly dependent on people working together to achieve the program's goal. And the whole company, not just a few people, the business intelligence people from a single team, all of the people must unite to drive success. And unfortunately, most organizations are sealed with functional areas and business units who struggle to communicate, coordinate, and collaborate in relation to transformation initiatives. We do see all of this across our clients every day. And even worse, the diverse tool, data repository, and workflows across disparate functions exacerbate enterprise disorganization, resulting in a business ecosystem that is largely analog, still analog and sealed, thus preventing to establish and build business management system needed to handle business 360 view, and it prevent to build system of insight to realize omnichannel customer activation. And finally, let me say that research performance in a range of industries indicate that the biggest obstacle to creating database businesses aren't technical, they're cultural. It is simple enough, and we will describe shortly how to inject data into a decision-making process, but it is far harder to make this normal, even automatic, for employees to let them make a shift in their mindset that present. This is a daunting challenge to make it happen. What you need, in short, you need a strategy to harmonize your data. You need a strategy to harmonize your people, and you need a strategy for your insight-driven practice. Today, we will mainly focus on data harmonization, and we'll try to explain how we can help you to access and use your data across your entire organization, wherever that data lives, without having to move it anywhere, keeping in cases in your enterprise repository if necessary. So data is the catalyst for growth, but leaders still struggle to unlock the hidden value, as we said. Why? From a technical perspective, there's a rapid growth of data, and data generated and new sources are added frequently. So managing data and integrating these new sources becomes increasingly challenging. Obviously, many companies buy other BI tools or take the data offline to perform such hunting task. There is no unified view of the data. Most of the time, this growth and the data sources make it more difficult to get a clear overview of sources, destination, and processing. All of these data that are involved. Too often, users take enterprise data offline. They analyze data locally, and they leave their visibility. And as a result, they are creating a pool of dark data. Dark data, it's like shadow IT. It increases the risk of data loss and leaks, lowering governance and reducing control of data within the organization. And so this is a huge risk poses a huge risk for data understanding and interpretation. It deals with a lack of control in managing access right properly to system of insights and data platforms. So we need to provide user to control user access and understand when they request the data they need in a logical way. We also have other type of issues such as slow and efficient data processing when we import data, low performance of data pipelines, but probably the most compelling issue is the lack of trust in existing data. So most of the time, I would say often, business leaders do not trust data to make informed decisions. The data quality of the system is so bad that it takes enormous effort to remediate the data and generate consolidated report. There is no central enterprise level data definition. There are no dictionaries. There is no consistency across the enterprise. And additionally, there is most of the time we don't see ownership to manage the data and the information, as each business unit creates siloed Excel factories or to support their needs. And this obviously creates enormous strains on organization to integrate thinking into a single source of truth. Despite having the latest data management, BI tools, and sophisticated dashboards for leaders to make decisions, in many enterprises, complex workflows, dispersed IT system, and heterogeneous data sets still block the use of data as a strategic asset, prompting the following question. How can you create a scalable automation framework for your data integration? How do you turn the data your organization holds into insight that you can act on? And how do you take and retain control over your data? Enabling a strategic data foundation layer means at the end you are leveraging a modern data pipeline, that you're building the foundational middleware infrastructure elements that provide visibility across the entire assembly line, and you are automating individual and cross-functional performance management and data-driven insight work. So you provide integration with data from thousands of sources and systems wherever they live. You automate your data pipeline and all of the transformation processes, and you gain complete and granular control over access rights to make sure that analysts, business users, all of the people who have to access data are able to do so. So the Domo Integration Cloud is a fabric that weaves all of your data together. It can be seen as a cloud data pipeline solution, helping you build a new generation of analytics and insights quickly, automate data ingestion and processing workflows, and leverage new data sources easily. The Domo Integration Cloud helps you deliver highly automated self-service, scalable, and optimized workflows to accelerate analytics and various business use cases. It helps either data scientists, data engineers, developers, and business analysts create the new insight they need and the application they want to build to create a data-driven practice. In short, it lets you harmonize your data from every part of your organization. With that said, let me pass over to Ian to see how the Domo integration platform works.
Thanks very much, Giovanni. My name is Ian Congdon. I'm the Head of Solutions Consulting here in EMEA, and hopefully you can all see my screen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run you through a brief 10-minute demo of Domo. Now, Domo, if you're not aware, it's a business management platform which enables an organization to unify their data and analytics journey from point of ingestion through to the end user actually taking action on that data. And as part of this, the Domo Integration Cloud focuses on 3 core areas: integration and automation, governance and control, and performance for the end user. And I'm going to touch on all of these through this demonstration. Now, as you can probably see, we're looking at a marketing dashboard right now. I know there's many technical amongst you on the call, but also I know we have a fair few marketeers in the room. So I wanted to base the demo around a marketing use case and focus on some of those core challenges that we just mentioned above. So that of integration and the challenge of disparate data sources, automation and management then on the back end of those data pipelines, and also the balance of control of the data for centralized IT, but actually giving the end users, in this case the marketeers, more flexibility and self-service. So what's the tooling you can give those teams to support that? Now, firstly, let's have a start on this dashboard and have a look at the output and how the marketeer can interact. Now, as you can see, as I scroll through this, this is very much a marketing executive summary. Looking at the top line view of the digital marketing funnel, and as I scroll through, you can see those different sections and different elements of it. So whether it's what we're looking at now in awareness, or looking at the consideration phase, or even then going actually through to the end conversion. And everything within this dashboard for the end user is interactive. So if I want to come in here and hover over this particular chart and look at the last 3 quarters, you'll see that that immediately starts interacting with the cards around it and updating the visualizations and giving me answers to my questions on the fly. Now, I'm not going to spend too long on this on the front end right now, and we'll come back to it later. But the key is that to mention here is that to create a dashboard like this in Domo, it's all done via a drag and drop GUI interface. And so it's something that any user can do within the platform if they're given the right security permissions and user role permissions to achieve something like this. And in order to enable an end user to work with data in this way, it's key that the relevant governance tooling and controls are in place. And there's a couple of things just on this dashboard before I move on I just wanted to touch on that are important in that respect, and tools that can help you within Domo to help shift that paradigm of giving more control to the end user. Retain control within the IT team, but give the user more flexibility. And the first thing is personalized data permission. So you'll see on all these cards or visualizations, there's this little shield here in the corner. And what this emphasizes is that these particular data sets have personalized data permissions applied to them, which means that, for example, in my case, as the manager of EMEA, I'm only able to see European data, and that's applied at the data set level. Now, someone who may be a country manager, say for the UK or for France or something, or Italy, they'll only see data for their particular countries. And the other thing that I just want to point out now is these ticks that you see on these cards. And these are certification programs in Domo. And what this means is that this particular visualization has been certified in a process determined by your organization to say that this is the right number, this is off the right data set, this has been certified by a centralized team. And that's a process that you can determine. But it means that you can trust this number, and you can start and you can report off that within the business. Now, A dashboard like this with marketing, as everyone knows, marketing has a huge array of disparate data sources, and the data within marketing is always changing, whether that's new systems that you may be working with, um, or old ones that you're having to connect to. So within a marketing use case, it's incredibly important that you can leverage a platform that gives you a huge array of connectivity out the box and can maintain that for you, so that you don't have to go out and spend time connecting to different data sets. Now, what you're looking at here is all the data that's stored within this particular instance of Domo. And I'm just going to pause this so you can get an idea of kind of the scale. So you'll see within this instance of Domo, we're working with over 5.9 billion rows of data, 4,000 data sets, 113 data sources we're connecting to. At the minute, I've stopped it and we're hovering over a particular data set from NetSuite, which it encompasses 567 million rows of data. But within Domo, what you're able to do is not only ingest data and bring it into the platform and start leveraging some of the ETL tools that we'll touch on in a little bit and automating your data pipelines, you can also query it where it sits in your systems as well. So around the outer edge here, you'll see that we're directly querying data in databases like Snowflake or Microsoft SQL Server or BigQuery, or even your on-premise databases if you want as well. So you can really have a hybrid approach to data management within Domo, where some data can reside within the Domo cloud, and you can take advantage of the huge performance gains we have there. So allowing, in these marketing use cases that we're talking about today, end users, thousands of end users to visualize data of, 100 million billion row data sets. Or you can take the approach where you actually don't want to move the data and you want to query it where it sits in your own systems. Now, the first piece is if you're looking to work with marketing data, quite often you'll get a lot of those systems are going to be cloud-based. One of the great things about Domo is we have over 1,000 cloud-based connectors. So in that dashboard that I just showed you previously, the marketing cockpit, to deliver something like that, you're taking together a huge array of data sources, particularly in that digital world. So not only is it going to be things like here, like your analytics provider like Adobe, it could be data coming from your CRM system like Salesforce. It could be data coming from your partners who are actually emailing that data into you, and you're leveraging another connector within Domo to do that. So these connectors are incredibly important because they mean that for the centralized IT team who want to connect to that data and bring it in, it's all simply point and click. You don't have to go out and build that connection to that particular technology's API. You can go in, enter your credentials, you can dictate the schedule that you want to bring the data into Domo, and then you can start to work for it very simply. So in the marketing world, and in that use case, it's particularly important where huge arrays of disparate data come together. Now, obviously, we also have connectivity to on-premise systems as well. You can see here at the top, whether that's on-premise databases, whether it's files on people's desktops that they want to start interacting with in the marketing world. Again, particularly as you work with a lot of your agency partners in that particular use case, they're going to be dealing with files of Excel they might send to you. It could be uploads to SFTP folder locations, things like that. And Domo has connectivity for that to make it as easy as possible for you to take action and get value from your data. Let's just take one of those examples that we were just talking about then in that use case. So Google Ads, for example, is a data source that would be much widely used in that particular marketing use case. And if we look at this in more detail, there's a couple of tools here within Domo from an IT perspective that are particularly helpful when you're working with lots of different data sets. I just wanted to touch on data sources, sorry, that you wanted to utilize within these types of use cases. So as you can see here, this particular data set from Google Ads is something that we've brought into the platform we're starting to work with. And one of the tools we have on the back end to really help with the governance piece is something called data lineage. So here I can see immediately from this input data source of Google Ads, all the different ETL jobs that are happening, all the different data sets and visualizations that are being powered by that particular data source downstream. So this is an incredibly powerful tool to allow you to actually understand, what's going on with your data within the ecosystem, and who the owner of it is, who's managing it, the type of data. You can also start to tag your data at this standpoint as well, and look at the schema and the metadata as well. But what I wanted to go now on this particular use case is how can you actually then automate and look at a data pipeline from this. So you can see in this example, in this data lineage, that actually we're actually combining a lot of different sources together to get our two data sets that were powering that end dashboard. So if I bring you into this view here, what you can see is one of Domo's ETL tools. And in this particular example, 5 different disparate data sources are being brought together to start to power some end output data sets that can either be used here within Domo, or actually could be exported back to your own, or written back, sorry, to your own data lake, your own data warehouse, or used in other tools as well. And these disparate data sources here, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, these are leveraging some of those cloud-based connectors I talked about before. But then you've got things coming from agency data that are likely to have come from something like an SFTP upload, like I mentioned, or partner data that could have been sent through taken from an email, CSV in an email that's being automated into the platform. And then what you have for the back of this in this Magic ETL tool here is an automated data pipeline actually preparing and transforming the data to make use of it, be it in Domo or be it somewhere else. So everything here again is a GUI interface and point and click functions to allow you to take data, add simple calculations, in this case adding a CTR calculation on the fly, and then actually as well join different data sets. So all these different functions allow you to cleanse your data in some way and actually get more value from it. And you can see, as well as simple steps, you can also, if you have people like data scientists within your organization, you can also even bring code into this step and actually start to put some of your own models within the ETL process as well, and productionize that within the platform. But this is just one of Domo's ETL tools. We also have the ability for the more technical amongst you to write SQL, Redshift within particular IDEs. We also have other data transformation tools to create non-materialized views of the data and help you, work with particularly big data sets as well. So there's a host of tools that you can use to transform data and automate it. But the key for any of them is that from the point that you dictate these source data sets to come into the platform, that kicks off this automated data pipeline to then give you these end output data sets that any user can start to utilize within the platform if you give them access to them and if you share it with them. So in our example, if you remember, once we had this data set, we then had governance applied to it again with the personalized data permissions. We had certification applied to it to say that it was a data set that could be used in the business to report and create the dashboards off it. The final thing I just wanted to touch on the back end from the governance perspective is it's critically important to also have tools to monitor what's going on within your world, not only from the governance of your data health as we're looking at here, but also from your users as well as you scale to much wider audiences within your organization. So what you're looking at here is an automated dashboard in Domo that's created for the centralized team straight away to say, all the data sources you have coming into your instance, all the data flows and the ETL jobs that I just showed you before that you have running, what is going on with the content within your instance of Domo. So this is one of the tools that we have to help you manage this and make you stay on top of things. So you can see, in this example, what's behind schedule, what's not updating when it should, what data sets need attention, what content should we potentially orphan because it's not relevant anymore. And then similarly, you have all that on an adoption side for the end users as well. And these are things that are created from data sets that are automated within the platform from day one. So as a centralized IT team, you can really stay on top of your instance and start to manage what's going on in there. So again, here, particularly important in terms of engagement. Once you're shifting that paradigm to try and enable more self-service in your organization, it's critically important you have these tools to help you stay on top of that and understand, who your power users are, how much content's being created, can you stay on top of that, can you manage it? And Domo really helps with that, with tools that I've just shown you, like the auditing here, like the data lineage to understand the health of your data and what your data is powering upstream and downstream, like the personalized data permissions and the user roles and security and certification. All of these things in combination within one instance can allow an organization to start to go from total control, lockdown in IT, to starting to give more capabilities to the end user to actually do some creation themselves and have some more flexibility in their data analysis. So I hope you found that useful. In summary, we touched on 3 key areas within how the Domo platform can help, particularly the focus of integration, then automation and management of data pipelines, and of course the governance tooling that can really help enable that balance between IT and the end user. For now, I'll hand it back to Kelly, and I welcome your questions today or at a later date. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian. That's really great. So thanks for providing a clear demonstration of this. I think now we'll move on to some quick takeaways. So Giovanni, did you want to go through this?
Sure. First of all, as you should have understood, to become data-driven, a company, a business needs a strategy to harmonize data, people, and an insight-driven practice. Second, data foundation layer is needed to consolidate, integrate seamlessly all of the data across your enterprise, even if they come from multiple sources, dispersed sources, and you need to do this with governance. This brings you to equip your users with the insight they need to drive strategic business decisions. And finally, as Ian has showed us, the Domo Integration Cloud is a platform that harmonizes data, all the data together, and enable you to perform your data-driven decision-making practice. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Giovanni. So I think we'll come to an end now. Obviously, if you do want to hear more about this solution, we would love to hear from you. So you'll see the email addresses of Giovanni and Ian here on the slide. Don't forget to check out our attachments with some more information. Thanks, Giovanni and Ian, for today, and thanks for watching to everyone.